Shoot the shit.
Hey YouTube, shooting the shit with Rhino and in the basement. So what do we want to talk about? What about movies? How about that? I mean, what's your favorite style of movie?
My favorite style
That
of movie
fucking fly is bothering me. There's one giant fly and there's a couple fruit flies, but that one giant fly.
Let me tell you what my favorite genre and style
you
of movie.
You continue. I'm just going to watch this fly.
And you can see it?
There's just a black thing flying around. Yeah, I can see it.
My favorite genre or style of movie is time travel.
Time travel movies. Okay.
The best.
So like a subgenre of sci-fi.
I love sci-fi, and throw time travel in, I'm hooked. I'll watch it all day.
Now see, I personally love. There's like three big genres. Some are subgenres, some are not. But I love zombie movies. Mm-hmm. I love sci-fi in general, and I love fantasy. But in fantasy, specifically like medieval type of stuff. But yeah, I also like B-rated movies. I love I have things like Rubber, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, Teeth.
Basically, shit that didn't come out to a theater.
Yeah. And some B-rated movies are Turbo Kid. Have you ever seen Turbo Kid?
I've watched the intro to Turbo Kid.
You've never watched Turbo Kid?
Not the whole thing, no.
Okay, one night when we get off work together early, we got to come over here and we should do a fan commentary video where I'll get the
I heard
headsets
somebody else
going.
does that.
There are a few people that do that.
Nice.
But what we'll do is I'll put the splitter in the computer, and we'll get 2 headsets on, and we'll just do fan commentary, and I'll watch, we'll drink some beers, of course, but not beers that I've reviewed before, that I haven't reviewed, just beers, and we'll watch,
I'll
Turbo
bring
Kid.
the beer over.
Yeah, and we'll do a fan commentary of Turbo Kid. I think you really should see it, especially if you like sci-fi and stuff like that. It's not time travel, but it's great, like, 80s, post-apocalyptic, like, cyberpunk sci-fi.
Yeah, we'll do it for sure. Now, let's talk about sci-fi time travel movies. Favorite one. There's so many to choose from. I mean, you've got fucking Star Trek. You've got Back to the Future. You have fucking
Back to the Future is such a good movie, but yeah, at the same time, there's so many. I mean,
there's flaws. I mean, there's flaws to every time travel.
There's even recent movies that are really good, like Interstellar.
That's not. Oh, it is time travel. I get. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
What was that? What's the one where he keeps dying and coming back to life?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're the one that told me to.
I know.
You're the one that told me to watch it. Edge of Tomorrow. There you go. That's a great movie.
Dynamite. Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. Yeah, if you go the comedy route, that's a good one.
You go with any fucking half the fucking Star Trek Next Generation fucking movies, and Star Trek 4. They're going back in time. Save the whales. Which one's your favorite? They're all good. Anything that has to do with time travel fucks with your mind.
Looper?
And it gets you... what?
Looper?
Looper.
Looper.
Oh, Looper was good. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Anything can get your mind thinking and go, wait a minute. Is this possible? If somebody...
Well, if time travel is a big thing for you...
time travel... any one of these scenarios can happen.
If you really like time travel, what do you think of Doctor Who?
As a not huge Doctor Who fan, time travel in Doctor Who is good. However, for its time, I don't know. It's campy in their time travel.
Well, you gotta remember, Doctor Who's been around since the 60s, right?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you went from the 60s to what, the late 80s or mid 80s, first off, and then you came from
90s,
yeah, mid 80s, technically the 90s, but mid 80s is basically where it stopped. And then you went to the 2000s. Like, I really got into it in the 2000s, and then I started going back into the early ones. And the early ones were very campy, but you can really get behind them at the same time once you've started watching the new series. And it's weird because every season, you could jump into it without watching the previous seasons, even though there's like 35 seasons now. You could get into it without watching the previous seasons, but if you've watched them all, my God, the show was different.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm not a big Doctor Who fan. I'll throw that out there right now. I'm not a huge Doctor.
No, I'm not. I'm not like a crazy Doctor Who fan.
No.
Like I said, I got into it when it first started again in what 2006 was it? In 2009? I don't even remember when it first started again. But that's when I started getting into it again. Before like David Tennant and all them became doctors.
When you talk about the old 70s, 80s Doctor Who's, I don't follow. I really don't. I mean,
I've watched them just to watch them. I actually, on this shelf here, I have Doctor Who, and I have a series that was like the top 3 rated videos from each different Doctor. So the 3 different a serial, if you will, the top serial of each different Doctor, so that you could get a feeling of each Doctor. And it was interesting to watch that because because it started back in the 60s when you didn't have the ability to edit, really. It was like shot, and that was it. Basically, like these beer reviews.
They would edit them by cutting the fucking...
No, but the original...
tape, right?
I actually have a documentary of the original, and they could only shoot a scene... Like, they could only shoot the episode up to 3 times. So it was basically, this is what you have when the original came out.
Yeah, I get it.
And that makes it so much more interesting that it's lasted this many years.
Let's talk about shows that, or movies that do a one-time time jump thing. Okay, Looper. You brought up Looper. Looper was fantastic, only because you don't know. Well, you do. Well, obviously you know what's going on in the movie, but without spoiling it for anybody out there, when something happens in the past and it affects the people in the future, for example, the tattoos and all that stuff. I don't want to fucking spoil it too much, but I mean, that was fantastic because if you didn't do something in the past and you were a looper in the future, it affects you, and I love that idea. I love the idea that
what about the
past will fuck up your future or the present that you're in, and unless you fix it.
How about probably the biggest time travel Hollywood film, Butterfly Effect, the original.
I loved it. I love that effect. I love that movie.
That's up here somewhere on this shelf.
It's on there. I seen it, and I loved it. I mean, I don't like horror movies. I don't like scary movies. I don't like that jump effect, like that scary jump effect. It doesn't bother him, but for me, it freaks me out and shit like that. But
I get weirded out by the weirdest things. But
he does.
Jump effects don't do it for me.
He doesn't do it, but you know what? And there wasn't that many in Butterfly Effect. I've seen it multiple times, and I love the idea. And I watch it, when I go back and watch it again, I'll skip through until I see a certain scene that I love. There's certain scenes in that movie where, for example, I'm going to... Spoiler alert. There's a scene where Ashton Kutcher has holes in his hands, and back in the past, he remembers that he put his hands down through 2 spikes on a desktop or whatever in class, and it totally fucks with you. It was a fantastic scene, and I loved it. That, like, even the little things where, like, family got involved in their lives of the children in the past, it affects everything that's going on in the future. I loved it. It was good.
There's a lot of good movies on this movie shelf if you think about it. I mean, this movie shelf is weird because it has a lot of my wife's type of, like, kid and family stuff, and it has a lot of my fucked up shit.
Movies back here.
And ever since I got the Android box, I stopped buying movies, which has saved me a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of movies I'd love to buy still, like Edge of Tomorrow. Movies that I watch more than once are movies I'd love to own.
Yep.
What else do we have here? I'm getting into this basically because, Lee wanted me to do some of his They Must Be Destroyed on Site podcast stuff. And he asked me, since I'm off on Fridays and Saturdays this month, if I could join him. And there's a lot of things. Like you said, time travel's your thing. I said my things. Were you ever big into medieval at all? Were you big into the fantasy stuff?
It depends on what we're talking about. I mean, if it's...
I loved Arnie in all the Conan movies.
Yes.
and his Red Sonja movie was pretty
Yep.
good too.
Bridget Nielsen.
Kull the Conqueror, which is a mix of sci-fi and medieval.
Yep.
Back when that was kind of a rip-off of Star Wars even, and there's just all this weird stuff out there. Roger Corman did a lot of amazing, just horrible fantasy. Horrible fantasy, like Humanoids from the Deep, Forbidden Planet.
You lost me.
You probably haven't watched these. No, I have them all on this shelf. I should make you watch them at some point. Really, I've always, and I know that you love film as much as I do and as much as Lee does, but you live here, and I mean, I always try to get Lee out here, but since he's scared of flying, he won't come out. So it's one of those things where, it's one of those things where maybe I should try and get you to do it one night, where even if it's at your place or whatever, we film like just the viewer commentary of different movies that you've never seen or I've never seen, just strange things on this shelf.
As long as it's not scary, I'll watch it. Because I don't like scary shit. It scares me.
And then I like I said, I love B-rated, and I love I love a lot of the lower budget stuff. Hobo with a Shotgun. I love that movie.
I haven't seen it.
No?
And
how about
I will watch it because.
How about Blood of Heroes? Have you ever seen that? No.
What is Blood of Heroes?
Blood of Heroes. It has a bunch. It's a Rutger Hauer movie, of course, and there are those B-rated movie stars, and Rutger Hauer's one of them. But basically, they play like a mixture of soccer and football with a dog skull, and the whole movie is about their team trying to become champions in a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, okay. Thank you for finishing that, because if it was nowadays, okay, it's a different fucking movie. But okay, I get it. I might watch that.
I've ran out of room on the shelf. That's why there's a whole bunch of these that are just
I see
up.
that.
I need to build a bigger shelf. I actually want to take this out and pull the wall back. But there's wires in the wall, so I'd have to take the wires out and then rerun them.
No, just add to the shelf.
There's nowhere else to add.
Keep going that way.
There's a brick wall right here.
It doesn't matter. Go on the other side of the brick wall.
What I mean, it's the weirdest thing ever though. Because
what's your favorite genre?
I told you, zombies.
Yeah.
Zombies, medieval, and just sci-fi.
Favorite zombie movie.
Ooh. Then we get hard. I love Romero. Yeah, it is personal. I love Romero movies, but my favorite zombie movie currently is probably Witchwood, which is an Australian zombie movie.
Really?
Sorry, Wormwood.
Not Witchwood?
Not Witchwood, Wormwood.
Haven't seen it.
Remember, we've been drinking now.
No.
No, not at all.
Not at all. My favorite zombie movie. I love the comedies.
Wormwood is an interesting zombie movie in that it's a mixture of everything. It's kind of a Romero zombie movie, but at the same time they have a cure, but they don't have a cure. And the girl that they capture, they test her, and she ends up being able to control zombies, and she kills her captor, and it's the weirdest thing ever.
There's way too much shit going on.
There is a lot of shit going on in it.
I like my favorite zombie movie is probably Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead is a really good movie.
Shaun of the Dead is fucking hilarious.
There's a lot of bad zombie movies too, though. I even own some of them. I actually am waiting on a shipment from Deadheads. I ordered Deadheads. I don't know anything about it. I also ordered Zombie X's. I don't know anything about that. They're probably both going to be shitty. But zombie comedy is pretty good. There's just so many of them. There's Warm Bodies. Warm Bodies, where the guy starts turning into a zombie and his girlfriend's trying to keep him as her boyfriend.
Yep, I've seen it.
And he tries to eat animal brains to keep himself from wanting.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's an okay movie. It's not great. It's not good. No. It's not. It's okay. I mean that's the thing with film, right? There's a lot of filler. It's finding good. It's the same with beer. It's finding good things. Let
me tell you what interests me right now in movies, anything that keeps me watching that fucking TV screen or that movie screen for more than 45 minutes. Because there's a lot of intro and shit like that when it comes to movies. You're going to get a whole bunch of character intro, character base, plot base that you're going through. If you can make it through the first 45 minutes, or half hour to 45 minutes of a movie that is kind of a new genre, but not really, like, it might be zombie, but it might be a twist, so you gotta kind of go through it. Or it could be a sci-fi or whatever, or action movie or whatever. If you can make it through the first 30 to 45 minutes, then that's a movie that's worth watching. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you can make it through the first 45 minutes of a movie, you're going to make